Hi, everybody.
Good morning. You guys missed some quality backstage content this morning. Jessica reaming me a new asshole.
I'm just giving you the old "What's Jana doing now?" eye roll thing.
No, she's doing the Jana reality check that later I'll come back and be like, why didn't I listen to Jessica again? I gotta live my own life. I didn't listen to you with the balls deep thing, and I'm still not sad about that.
Okay. All right, let's do our sponsors real quick. Please and thank you. She's here looking beautiful, not talking though, because we'll talk for 5 minutes about
We just covered
Brill.
her.
I know, how rude.
Very rude.
Oh, look. Can you be Wilson? There you go.
Oh my gosh. I have a good feeling about today.
For all of your testing needs, use code Shit Happens for $5 off the crypto panel, and this can be used an indefinite number of times. And I don't know if anybody ever knew this, but I was
every single test. If you test five
we
snakes,
we weren't paid by Vet DNA to do this. I asked them for a code.
We humbly crawled to their doorstep and said, pretty, please. And they said yes.
So we're doing the Lord's work right now. Check them out.
And I'm hopefully going to be able to go to Arlington.
She's back.
Hopefully I'm going to be able to go to Arlington in September with Jessica. And hopefully we'll also be able to tour the facility. That would be really fucking badass. So we'll see, guys. We'll see. I'm trying to work it out.
What kind of weekend do you want to set up? All right. Do we have other sponsors?
Do we? I think they kicked us all out. I think they just canceled
everyone.
Every single one. Okay, so we have Mr. Shane Kelley, Small Town Exotics, continuing to sponsor Mr. OG himself. And we have Justin with Stoneage Ball Pythons, Chris, BNS Reptilia. We have Eileen with Bravo Zulu, and the Gray Family Snakes. That's Roger and Lori. And then we have Mr. Andy with Powerhouse Pythons. Thank you all for your support. Just doing a quick shout out for you today because we have a guest.
Yeah.
So, all right. Still grateful. Thank you. Oh, do you want me to do some shout outs from the?
Yeah, please.
So there's a bunch of questions from Lisa too.
Yeah, we'll probably circle back to the questions after you do shout outs, and we'll have Maddox answer.
Okay, so we have Andrew, Lisa, times 15, Tara, Bohemian, Odin, husband on the way home looking for a sandwich. I'm not sure if that's code for something. Jennifer, Chris with Copperhead, Marshall's here, Texas Kid,
Chris,
Heretic. Is it Jeff or Joff? Comment below how you pronounce. Oh, you're Casey, so we'll just say that. Lindsay with Pico Pythons. Justin's here. Super Snake Syndicate. Will Teleheat. And that's all, you guys.
How are you doing, Maddox?
I've had.
Do you go by Maddie? That's a weird question.
I did when I was a kid.
Okay.
Why would you take, no offense, why would you take such a cool name like Maddox and go by Maddie?
So, funny story, Maddox was originally my last name.
What?
Yeah.
What was your given name?
Sarah.
But really?
Very 80s of you.
You're not a Sarah.
I am really not.
No, I'm sorry.
I went to a
with an H or no H?
With an
Inquiring minds. Okay, sorry, go ahead.
I went to a private Christian school for 10 years. Super fun when you're a queer kid. Highly recommend.
You mean when you were in the closet at school? Yeah. Or were you loud and proud and out and getting beat by the nuns?
Yeah. Everyone was like, why don't you like that cute boy? And I was like, I don't know. I like that cute girl over there.
Sorry.
But there were 6 other Sarahs in my class.
Yeah.
And because it was a small school, you aged up, it was the same kids every year. And 3 of them also had last names that started with M. So they couldn't even call it
Sarah M, Sarah F, Sarah G.
Yeah. No. So they started calling me Maddox for most of elementary school. But my brother also went by Maddox. And so when I got to high school, we had an overlap of friends, And they were like, we can't call you both Maddox. And so then I became Maddie, which I think was bullshit. Because I think I should have been able to be.
That is so
Maddox.
fucking
Yeah.
sexist right there. Like,
I know, right? Yeah. But then I legally changed my name to make my first name Maddox. So booyah, bitches.
oh, that's awesome. See, I just thought you had really rad parents.
No.
Because the 80s did not produce a lot of rad names, and Maddox is kind of a rad name.
Yeah, I cheated.
My second child goes by Sarah, and it grinds my gears pretty hard because her name is Serafina.
That is so much cooler.
And she goes by Sarah, and she spells it how her name is spelled, which is Sera. And so everybody rolls their eyes at her name like I'm one of those like dumb parents that thought I could just spell it however I wanted. And so, it makes me so angry.
Yeah.
And for her, she's just like, well, I only have to write 4 letters rather than a zillion. So I'm going to write 4 letters. And I mean, literally has nothing, like, she's not like she doesn't like her name or anything. But for me, I'm like, you have a great name and you're going by Sarah. No offense. Sarah's just, it's just not,
I mean,
it's not as cool as Serafina. So
it's really not.
I'm like, go by
It reminds
Fina.
me of Sarah from Land Before Time because she was Cera.
Yep.
So that's cool to me. I don't know. It's cooler. All right, real quick. I'm sporting the Pride Month Pangea t-shirt, which is actually really cool. It comes in lots of colors. And all the profits from the sales of the shirt go to the Trevor Foundation, which is a nonprofit that is trying to reduce LGBTQ plus suicide, so through counseling. And that is something that affects that community a lot. So I thought this was cool, and it's a cool shirt. It looks cool. I got it in black, so it's like maximum rainbow.
Yeah,
There's
I gotta
little
go
like
order mine.
gecko feet in different colors.
How come they don't have like a tie-dye one?
Because then you couldn't see how cool the rainbow gecko feet
it's got
are.
the
Oh,
cute
he is pretty cool. Okay. All right.
There's
All
like
right.
it comes in mint, forest. I thought about the teal and the royal, but I think I liked it best in black because you could really sell
hot in black.
how fun it is.
Yeah.
Check it out, everybody. It's in the show notes. I put it in there for you.
I had to have a soul crushing conversation with my oldest at the beginning of June because Pride Month. She's so excited. Like we're really LGBTQ plus positive in this house, and so like she knows what it is, and she's really excited. It's Pride Month, like woohoo! And at school, like there's like this is the first time because she's in 5th grade. It's the first time that she's heard anything negative really about the community, and she's never really experienced that. And she like didn't understand, and so like I had to like sit down and I was like, this is going to be a really hard conversation. Are you ready for it? And she was like, yeah. And so we just like talked about like religion and conservative beliefs and liberal beliefs and how like people are going to hate, and when as you grow up, like your friends who you thought were your friends like may not be your friends anymore if you identify in that category. And she cried. It was pretty rough, but also like nobody told me nobody told me or talked to me about these things when I was a kid. And so I feel like even though it was like a hard thing for her to hear, I think it's so much better than just not having the conversation.
Yeah, definitely.
All right. Let's go back to Lisa's questions.
Yeah, hang on. Let me find them.
Before we forget, here's the first one. Lisa asked, she's excited about her boas changing colors. Do they all do it? At what age they start doing it? And she says she feels like she's driving them nuts by looking at them.
I love the like reels where they're like they're opening the tubs and they're like they're my favorite.
Right, Maddox, do you want to handle that one?
Yeah, I'll start and then you can correct everything I say wrong.
I'm sure it'll be all.
Welcome to my life.
Yeah. So I think there's like a couple different color change things. There are some morphs that definitely like develop their colors more as they get older. Like coral albinos, which is like the call line. They tend to like get more vivid colors as they get older. IMG gets like darker as they get older. And like there are some other like subtle color changes that like most morphs go through. So that's like the general long-term color change that a lot of morphs have. And then you have the like firing up, firing down thing that boas do, some more so than others. And that's just like you look at them some days and you'd be like, wow, you are really dark. And then 4 days later, you'd be like, you look like a completely different snake right now. And some morphs definitely do that more so than others, at least from my experience. Like I have RC pastels right now, and like they wildly change in color from like week to week.
Yeah, it's almost like you have to pull a layer of color away with some sort of selective breeding to be able to see like the gray part fire in and fire down. And the pinkish part seems to be stable. It's like there's like a gray layer that can completely go away or completely come back. And she has white lips, so it's a similar process. But a lot of times you're like, hurry, we got to take a picture of the snake today.
Yeah.
Because they're like mostly in between, but when they go into light mode and it's during the daytime, so you get a daytime outside shot in light mode.
So
light mode's normally
they
at
fire
night.
like geckos?
Yeah.
That's incredible. I had no idea.
Yeah, it's very cool. It's just like a fun perk of having it that your snake, because you might have 2 to 3 snakes in the same snake, depending on the time of the month.
I know you've got me right on the edge of wanting them, and then you knock me off the edge back down the hill when you talk about biosecurity, and I'm like, I can't do it. It's too stressful.
Yeah, and if anybody else has any other questions or comments, we'll just be like just talking about boas, sort of in general, boa and perter stuff. But Maddox will be helping us out with that.
Oh, I have a comment from Andrew saying that he's pretty conservative, but he still supports the community. He's still an ally. I talked to her about that. Like, my mom is really conservative, and she doesn't agree with the lifestyle, but she like isn't like
firebomb a
yes
club,
or like
seems pretty basic.
One of her 10,000 children came out. She wouldn't like disown them or be like, "You're dead to me." You know, like some people. Like I have friends who their parents literally said that, "You're dead to me."
And right, that's why we need Trevor Project.
And that's exactly why we need Trevor Project. I also have a nephew who is trans, and I mean, it's something like 50% of them commit suicide before the age of 18. And so he's already, I think he's 20, already lost a bunch of friends from that community. So it's a really important project.
Yeah, I wasn't laughing about that. Sorry.
I know you weren't laughing about it.
I was laughing about this. Yeah, we're on Thursdays now forever. So we
I've said it like 12 times. No, yeah. We did a surprise show on Tuesday just because Jess had a wild hair up her butt. But our new date of the week is Thursday, same time, 1 p.m. Eastern time. And for the foreseeable future, I think it's just going to work better with everybody's schedules because summer's coming up and people have weekend plans or their shows. It's just, it's a lot.
I like that better.
I like Thursday better too.
Yes. Andrew, I think you were the one who posted in the comments about waiting for the rainbow stickers from Morph Market. I am also waiting for those.
Wait, what?
Well, he was giving away free ones. Did you get the free ones? Did you buy extra?
I will buy them. I just didn't know they gave them out.
All right,
so
I'll
I
get a picture.
The free ones or buy them, but I didn't see them listed last time I checked. Like they have the other ones, but not the rainbow ones. But I also have 2 days. While
I look it up, do you want to comment on the Darian situation where he basically left because they, said he was abusing animals or whatever? The Morph Market Facebook, the Morph Market IG were both taken down off of Facebook and IG respectively. And then Darian was like, I'm just going to leave because I'm getting death threats. Discuss amongst yourself. I'll look for the picture of the sticker.
I don't even know what's. I haven't looked at social media at all this week.
I try to stay
away. Other deadlines, and so I feel like I left, and I have come back to a massive dumpster fire, and I'm like, what is going on? I was only gone a week.
last 2 weeks has been nuts. And there's stuff I haven't even told anybody about, like the leopard gecko people are having their like crazy thing right now. And it's gentle because it's leopard geckos, right? Like they're not into it. But between like Samson Pruitt being a shit, Darian being Darian, you doing his Dare Bear stuff on Facebook.
Oh, Dare Bear. I love that.
And then the DG stuff. And then Darian Lee, it's been like 4 concurrent like things to keep up with. So we haven't really been covering it because we're not drama, but I'm like, damn, the retic people that he made mad took him down off of Facebook, basically. Hey, I'm on a podcast.
This is Horizon 5.
Welcome to the worst podcast ever, where there will be foul language, sexual innuendo, children popping in.
Yeah, I'm surprised that my cat hasn't like bombed my keyboard yet and spilled my coffee everywhere.
If
he had to tell me about a car.
I'm going to be sad. Not the spilling the coffee part, but the bombing part. There must be a cameo if there are cats present. My 2-year-old pregnant dog may jump. I have my living room like fenced off. She totally can jump it because she's huge. But she doesn't do it very often, but she's really clingy. So if she may just barge right in at some point too. Or I may run out because I have a child home that was throwing up all night. Or I may answer the phone because I have a child who was trying to use her sister's throwing up as an excuse to stay home from school because apparently Washington hates children and parents, and my kids are in school till the 22nd.
Ew.
What the actual fuck?
Ugh. I walked into like our town center this morning to get coffee, and there were kids everywhere, and I do not like children. And so I was just like, what the fuck? It is 11 a.m. Why aren't all of you in school right now? And I was
nope,
like,
school's over. You were like, I'm gonna go home and hibernate for the summer until you guys go back to
I'm like, can you go to like summer camp or something? Like, don't stand between me and coffee. And there's also they opened up this like really cool beer hall down the street, but it's like an all ages, like anyone can come. It's like the parents like to come because like, oh shit, I can drink here and just like let my kids
run loose.
Free. And I'm like, this is the only bar in the center. I just want to come here for my beer and not have screechy children.
You got to go at like midnight.
That's just me complaining about kids. It's fine.
Mm-hmm.
It's all right.
Andrew says they're giving the stickers away with purchase on Dubia.com. I thought you could just get 100 free just for fun. That's what Darian said, but it isn't on the website currently.
Thing. Sweet.
This one's funny. We respect all kinds.
Wait, what's the one up that's Morph Market? That's colorful.
It's like green and orange.
That's a rainbow. Are you sure that's not the?
No, there's like I'll get the picture off Darian's.
Yeah.
Well, it's his Facebook.
Right, it's too little
deleted.
for me to see, and I don't know where my glasses are.
Okay, whatever. It seemed cool, but
like, so what is the deal with Morph Market? Like, of all the drama that's going on, like Morph Market is what I care about because that's where
she wants you to summarize the Morph Market.
So, besides the various people that he's taken down off of Morph Market that were bad, like Samson Pruitt, there was somebody who got mad at a customer in a private conversation and then told them, like, go fuck you or fuck yourself or whatever. And he removed them from the platform for that reason because it was too rude. And that was another retic breeder. And so there was a concerted effort, maybe from that guy, maybe from that guy's friends, maybe from Samson Pruitt friends, to like bulk report the Morph Market page, Facebook page, and the Darian's Facebook page and the Instagram as whatever, animal abuse, animal sales, whatever. Because you can just like, if enough people just like bulk reported, the algorithm's like, I think this is fucked, so bye. So like manual review could put it back on, but sometimes it doesn't because they have like 2 people probably in a sweatshop in Thailand that do the manual reviews of Instagram accounts. You know what I mean? Like, so they're just like, whatever. The computer said you're bad.
Well, I mean, I don't think people should be mass reported for nothing. I don't think people should be bullied out of the community. But I also have reservations about how loud how loud he is in the community, because we're so used to John, right? That's the right name.
Gentle John.
Yeah.
Gentle
That's what I'm
John,
gonna call him
who's
now.
just like quiet in the corner, unassuming, nice guy. Not that Darian, I don't know him personally. I don't know if he's nice or not, but
He was pretty nice.
so
But-
like I have no opinions on him because I don't know him. But John was just such a quiet presence that he didn't take up any space, and he was very neutral. He was a lot like Justin, you know, just like Switzerland permanently. And Darian is very loud and outspoken, and maybe like a little pause so that we can all get used to the fact that he has a voice, which he's allowed to use his voice. Like, I'm not saying we should silence him. I'm just saying that it's been a lot.
Yeah. So look, people agree with me on the internet. Lisa says, and I made this comment in the Holdback Harem Facebook group, which apparently I started using because Andrew started using it by himself, and I felt bad for him, and so I started to use it again too.
Oh,
But she said,
I should go in there and use it too. Sorry.
yeah,
guys.
probably. Instead of spending money sending people to the Morph Market's Facebook page and doing, like, you know, provocative things on Facebook to get people to look at Morph Market's Facebook page, he should have just spent the money for Google ads that were specific to our industry, like baby boas for sale. Send all of that ad traffic to Morph Market instead of even bothering with Facebook, because people don't necessarily like. They might go to Morph Market's page, but do they take the leap and go to another site?
Yeah. I feel like advertising on Instagram would be good though, which is still meta. I don't know. I spend like a decent amount of money on advertising, and I do Facebook and Instagram because I get way more traffic from that than Google.
For your snake business or for your job? For
one of my other jobs.
Are you selling something that people can buy?
Yeah.
Which sounds stupid, but like some like snakes, like a lot of times you're doing these keyword ads that are for like even down to a region and gender and age and whatever, and you're still hitting people that don't give two shits about snakes because it's so niche. But something more like t-shirts or whatever.
Do you mind saying what you're advertising for, or you
Oh,
don't have to?
I write fantasy books, which you guys have talked about.
What? We've talked about that. I
Yeah.
need to see. Hang on, I'm gonna write down your pen, like your. Yeah, I'm doing that right now, or I'm gonna forget again. Okay, tell me your fantasy books.
So I write a fantasy series called Lost Legacies. It's written by Maddox Gray.
That's under your name.
Yeah, and my Instagram is also under Maddox Gray for that. So
E or A?
E. I had to think about that for a second.
So are we allowed to talk about what we talked about offline? We were offline when we talked about that, right?
We
About your name?
Things. Oh, wait.
You mean like what we talked about in the green room?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can bring it up again here.
Okay, so
Maddox
was your last name growing up. When you changed it to your first name, did you pick a last name, or did you like take a partner's last name? How did you get Gray in there?
I picked that. Well, some of my all my friends were like throwing in things like what goes with Maddox. And I am also a huge comic book nerd. Specifically, like I love the X-Men. And Jean Grey is one of my favorite characters.
Fuck yes! She is my
Gray
favorite too growing up.
Yeah, so it was like a randomly picked name. I was like, that's nerdy.
So cool. Oh my gosh. Wow. I just became a fangirl. I'm sorry. That is really cool. Yeah, I think we should all just, when we turn 18, just make a new name if we feel like
Yeah, like
it.
if you don't like your name, then just change it. Like
I tell my girls, I was like, if you don't like your name when you're 18, I'll pay for it. You can have whatever name you want.
Yeah.
There are a lot of Native American tribes that do that. You have your baby name, and then when you become the person you are going to be, you get another name. And that makes total sense to me.
That's how most societies used to do it, is that you got a name that was more fitting for who you grew into.
Stupid patriarchy.
Yeah. So
sorry. Just kidding.
I guess I'm supporting the patriarchy because I kept my last name. Whoops.
Listen, it's fucking the Social Security office isn't going to give you your checks anyway at this point, so it's probably fine either way.
I just like it because now my name is 2 4-letter words, and my maiden name.
Very balanced.
My maiden name was just like, it sounded like Loogie, so I mean.
Yeah, pick whatever name like you like best, regardless of whether it's taking your partner's name or your partner taking your name. Like,
right? Yeah,
whatever makes you happy.
I know. I have another friend who they have a trans son, and when they let him change his name, I think he was about 6. They let him legally change his name to his chosen name, and as a family they picked a new like meaningful last name, and they all changed their last name, and he changed his first and last name, and I was like, that is such a beautiful way to like celebrate that. I just thought it was super touching, and it was just like, obviously they weren't like super loud and obnoxious about it, but for me I was like, that's so beautiful.
Chris at Copperhead Reptilia says he liked him at first, but he felt like, and he was doing good things, but the more it went on, the more drama was stirred in posts and comments, and tensions were already so high in the community that he was maybe disappointed or not as happy. I kind of agree. I do like Dare Bear on a personal level. It's just like, I don't know. Everyone is like at like peak psycho right now because the market's down and everybody's crying, and it's like getting downer.
Yeah.
So like, I don't know if he should just like quietly ban people he doesn't think are good for the hobby too. Good. It's your website. You bought it. Ban away, sir.
Yeah. Are we going to touch on the other local drama?
Holy shit. I don't know.
How's like,
let's talk about boas a little bit more and then we can talk about that.
Okay.
I don't know.
I have so many other like hobbies and things in my life that are so filled with drama, and like reptiles have always been my like
quiet place.
This is nice. Now I'm like, what is happening right now?
It's because the market's down, so everybody's like picking at each other, and I guess people don't have anything better to do with their time than like research what other people have done wrong in their life. Sometimes it's a good thing, like what we'll talk about later, but for the most part, it's just, I think it's an explosive situation because people are stressed or worried about the market. And so before, when there's like plenty to go around, everybody's yay, camaraderie, woohoo, and now it's like everybody for themselves. Kind
That's
of mentality.
Okay. I mean,
no, it's not.
I think it was going to happen. I just like, you got to keep your headspace clear, and if that means stepping away from social media, you can't. No, isn't the whole background, but stepping away from the other podcast. Not it's a whole background. Stepping away from Facebook, which is like a dumpster heap. That's why I like try not to be on there anyway. Just try. That can help you do like a mental health break, Yeah.
Do you want me to talk about like the expos and the Northeast?
Yeah. Which ones have you vended in? Maybe for how long?
So I've been doing the one in Manchester, New Hampshire, like on and off for about a decade.
Is that a 2-day show or a 1-day show?
1 day. Yeah, most of the ones around here are small, except for the ones that are in New York and New Jersey.
Is it in a gymnasium or community center? Or
it's
church?
In a like convention hall that's like attached to like a DoubleTree hotel.
Okay. That's better than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, no, like there is one in Massachusetts that I sometimes go. I don't always go, and that was in a like gymnasium, like basketball court.
They sure are up there.
Yeah,
it's so strange. There's like this microcosm of like old fart men. No offense, men that are like have been running these shows for 40 years or whatever in that like Northeast corridor, and all their shows end up being kind of samey because they're all like, yeah, it's fine to have like, be in a gym that smells like old scrotal sweat and just have some tables and no tablecloths, delis on the tablecloths. Everybody's packed in as tight as possible. So you like the New Hampshire one though?
Yeah, like I don't mind it. And the people that run that are the ones that run White Plains. They do one in Poughkeepsie and somewhere else. I think there's like 4 locations that they run. But
Would you do the
Manchester-
other ones, or is this one just local enough that it's okay to do it?
So I do New Hampshire because it's convenient for me. New England is small place with tiny states. So even though I'm in Boston or like just north of Boston, it's like an hour drive for me to get to Manchester, New Hampshire. So that's pretty convenient. And it's like a decent variety at that show. It's not huge. I'm like so bad at like thinking about how many vendors there are, like 100 and 150 vendors, I want to say.
That's a lot.
That's great.
We're pretty like packed in, and there aren't that many people who do more than one table. There are like a couple of people who have like, you know, like the end cap of the row, but it's mostly like one table vendors.
Listen, that's actually like very, to me, like almost that probably is healthier, right? Because that means like more people have space to share their one weird frog, you know?
Yeah.
It's like a 40-foot end cap of all the same person with their kind of thing that they're into.
Yeah. So I like that one. I don't really do the Massachusetts one because that one is mostly like kids and families who are looking for their first pet, and your first pet is normally not a boa. So it's like this isn't really worth it for me. And then the other ones that I don't go to are like White Plains, and like a couple other in New York, and that's mostly because I don't want to deal with New York State sales tax.
Like, what percentage is it? Do you know?
I think you have like the state and then the city. I think it ends up being like 8%.
Okay, I mean that's a lot, but it's not like the worst. So would it be hard to get your sales tax permit in New York, or have you tried to look into it? Because I had to get it for Texas.
I'm real lazy and I just don't want to deal with it. I'm like, I can also just not do sales tax.
All right, that's true.
And it's also like that is that's a farther drive for me. It'd be like 4 hours to go there. And I don't know, like I've never, like I really only sell boas, and like sometimes I do okay at shows and sometimes I don't. If I don't do okay at the Manchester show, like it's not a big deal. Like it's one Saturday. I drove there and back. Like if I did New York, like I had to deal sales tax, I had to get a hotel, probably like one or both nights. And I don't know enough about what the market is for like
know if it's like worth it. Yeah, and I think that's like a big part of why I'm like a whiny, self-righteous bitch, right? If I could go to a show that was within driving distance of my house and could come home each night or come home at the end of the day, that would change the psychology of the situation a lot to me. Because like it makes it a lot more of an ordeal if you have to get a hotel. Period. End of story, including the bed bugs, you know.
Did you guys already answer this question?
Yes.
Where you're located? Okay, sorry, I was answering an email from my kid's teacher.
Yeah, I live right outside Boston.
No, not yet.
Have you ever come down to visit the like Pennsylvania shows?
No, but I am thinking about that more. Like, and I also would just like to see like bigger shows, which is why I'll probably go to White Plains because that's a bigger show than Manchester. I would also love to fly out to like Tinley or like Arlington or something just to
come to Arlington.
I might. I'm pretty tempted.
I told Jessica won't be there, but we should totally have like a party house. Like just get like an Airbnb with a bunch of rooms and we can all stay in one place. It'll be so fun.
Let's not party.
And when I say party house, I don't mean let's all get blackout drunk. I just mean hang out
quietly together.
Quietly together. Let's all be introverts in separate corners of the home, all in the same place.
Oh, we're still together. No, I don't know. Yeah,
like Jana shut.
So Christy moved away to Colorado, everybody. So she was coming to the Arlington shows, and then we missed her. Crispy for the people at home. Allison, what's her last name? Theus?
That sounds right.
So she was the like hypothetical person I was trying to meet at Arlington twice now. and never made it work. Hi, Lori.
I got to meet Lori. I know you guys were all jealous. It was so much fun. We talked about our kids throwing up. I feel like I like wished bad juju on myself because we were telling like gruesome kid throw up bunk bed stories.
Gross.
Yes.
Gross.
Moms are gross.
Lisa mentioned Carpet Fest. I have been thinking about doing Carpet Fest this year.
If you go to the PA one, you're going to like the OG flavor because you keep jungles.
I keep one jungle. I used to breed jungles, but now I only have the one.
Would you want to get back into it? Will you get tricked into it on accident?
Not currently. I think I'm more likely to get into like colubrids. Like I like my boas.
Yes.
And like I have like, that project that I like, but
let everybody know what species of colubrids. Let's just go through all of it. Like what are your projects in case they didn't watch the last?
Yeah, and I don't think I talked about the colubrids last time. I mostly breed boas. That's like 70% of what I have. And recently I have Mexican black king snakes, which are basic, but I love them because they're like little goth noodles and they're just so cute. So I actually have my first ever clutch of them hatching. One of them came out 2 days ago. The other two are like, they've been poking their heads out from the egg for the last 2 days, but like, nah, I think I'm fine.
Nah, I'm good in here, dude.
Yeah, they're like, I heard what's going on with the morph market and all that shit.
I gotta go
right here. So those guys are hatching. I have a pair of Honduran milk snakes, which I have a love-hate relationship with. I have historically hated milk snakes because they always pee on me, and I don't like being peed on.
I'll bring up pictures.
Yeah, I'm like no water sports. It's like one of my number one rules.
Mm-hmm.
But these guys are very pretty. Love to piss all over me.
I think they're hot looking, but we talked about this in the Discord. Like, I'm worried, like they get big, so
they get big, and
you have to convince your pet buyer, like, hey, this is balls look awesome looking, but it needs a 4-foot cage.
I was just gonna say, you see a lot more people gravitate towards the Nelsons because of how small they are.
Yeah, I think Hondos are fun for people who want who have had like a few other colubrids before and like want something more interesting. The way they move is very weird. They're very like jerky in their movements, which is like always like throwing me off. Like they'll move a little bit and they'll stop and they'll move again and they'll move again. And I'm like, I feel like you have anxiety and you're giving me anxiety.
See, that's like what the problem I have with most fast moving colubrids is they literally like amp me up. And I'm like, oh, I can't hang out with you because you're just like frantic and it makes me frantic. So I prefer the slow moving, but I don't know, those Asian rat snakes or old world rat snakes.
Yeah, I saw like somebody post like some like king rat snakes like the other week, and I was like, what the fuck are these?
They have the Chinese ones anyway are extremely cool looking, but like that's one of those things where you can't have a ton of them because they're huge, they're super active. It's like buying a Crebo basically, but yeah, they are very cool.
Yeah.
So do you remember like the Hondo lines you were trying to get? Because there were specific lines that were better. You were talking to Crispy about it.
Yeah. So these ones are, or at least the female is Sanderson. If I remember right, I got them from like Thermal something in the name. I did a bunch of research before I got them, and now I've immediately forgotten all of it. So I was like, all right, I got what I needed. But I remember there was like one line where it like there was something about it. I want to say it was like the ultra stuff. And I don't remember if it was bad, but there was something about that line where I was like, I'm not going to do that.
I like the like purple silver thing.
Yeah. So this,
but I like the wild type tangerine too. I
don't really like the hypo. Like I got it. I'm like, cool, but the hypos just always look like they're in shed to me, and it's weird.
Yeah, but I'm into that.
So like, hot. I'm like, whoa.
Yeah.
That was like glowing on your arm.
Yeah. I'm glad I got both. So I have them. So I have
those fucking gorgeous.
I also have like some like Cali Kings, just because I love king snakes. Like they're super basic, but I adore them. As you can see, mostly boas.
I need to get some Florida Kings.
Have you tried
so
to
bad
vend colubrids in that market and seen how they've compared to boas? Like,
So I'll have the
pet
Mexican
people?
black king snakes this time. Probably
right.
the next show is in July. So I don't think they'll be ready by then because they'll be like less than a month old. But I might breed the Hondos next year because they'll be 3. It's still weird to me that you can breed colubrids younger. Like I'm just in the boa mindset of like, I won't breed you until you're 6 years old. And
I won't breed you till I'm dead.
yeah,
And my progenitors will.
yeah, all the
Yeah,
colubrids are
and
not-
sometimes they ovulate at 2.
yeah. So
Just saying, I have lots of 2-year-olds with like 1 or 2 follicles, and they poop it out, and you're like, why did you do that? And
yeah,
their desire to like do a fast life cycle is very strong.
yeah. So I'll probably do that next year. The other snake that I recently picked up was the Angolan python. Not sure.
Yeah, the Angolans are really cool. Did you get them from like as a pair, like to breed them?
I bought a female from Sonia because she had one left from her 2021 clutch that was like small because it was like took a while to get going on feeding, and I'm like, I love things that are small, so I will take that one. So I'm on the hunt to get a male to pair with her eventually.
Yeah, at least that's like the easier like gender mix because they take a long time to breed too.
Yeah, she like I was talking to her about it, and she's like they're kind of more like boas, but like where you're on the like.
Here we have photographic evidence.
Yeah,
I love them. I think they're really cool.
I would like to get I've seen some that have more of a red tint to them.
Mhm.
I don't know if that's something that they just have in their babies and they grow out of it, or if there are some that are like a little bit more of a red phase. But not a lot has been done with them yet, and so I feel like we can get some cool like line breeding going on. They are weird. People like compare them to ball pythons. I'm like, they're nothing like ball pythons. Like they sort of have like a similar body type, but they act a lot more like carpet pythons. Like
to me they look like ledge snakes that jam themselves into ledges,
which is what they do.
That's a carpet thing.
Yeah, they can flatten their bodies quite a bit because they usually dwell in like caves and like ledges and like rock crevices, so they're very like squishy and can like flatten out. She like bolted up my tree, like went straight up and just like widened her body to fit in between the bark.
Did she have a sky hide? Did you try a sky hide on this species yet?
I am building. I bought a bunch of slate, and so I am building a like cave, multi-level cave system for her.
What do they call that? What's the word for that?
Somebody said it in our Discord last week, and I was like,
"Fuck!" It's like a something stack.
Yeah.
Somebody in chat know.
There's
that will know. Chat, use your powers.
But
Captain Planet.
That's what I'm currently building for her. It's just taking a while to get it going. Yeah, because I'm curious how she's gonna do that. So
yeah, that's cool. I'm in.
Yeah, I feel like this is another one though that's like kind of like the Hondos, where it's not really a beginner snake.
No.
And so it's sort of like someone who specifically is like looking for something different.
Yeah. So. I obviously I'm a Strugglesaurus Rex every day, but I'm still struggling with like, if I bring weird things on a table, my table will be cool to me, right? To me and to the other people who know. But most people walking around in a show don't know. So it depends on the show if there's like the right density of knowers.
Yeah.
So like you almost have to like know your show to even bring an angle into a show. But you think the New Hampshire one is a little bit more of like a hobbyist?
I think there's a little bit more of a hobbyist, and like there's a little bit more people who want weird stuff. People ask me all the time for like Doomerals boas, which I don't know if my pair are ever going to breed. Like, which is why I kind of want to get an ultrasound at some point because I just have no idea what's going on with my female.
I'm telling you, I love my ultrasound. Love.
You should at least try, because you can count follicle size the same way you can with the ball python, and you see the little spines and heartbeat flutters.
Or just ask around to your local reptile friends if you have
I
any.
have. Yeah, nobody like that I've asked so far has one around here.
Oh, that's a bummer. If you were close, I'd let you use mine.
I know. I live far away from everyone. Yeah, like dream girls have like a crazy long gestation period. And she does weird stuff. Like she'll go off feed for a few months and like she'll be hugging the heat. I'm like, what are you doing?
You gonna give me some babies?
Yeah. And then she'll just go back to normal. I'm like, cool. Maybe in 7 to 9 months you'll drop some babies.
There was some discussion in the comments about the enclosure size for king snakes. I just wanted to comment that I have my adult kings in clear V70s, and they use every inch of that enclosure. They're always like, no matter when you open the tub, like they could be anywhere. They're not just like hanging out in one spot like a ball python. I mean, and their substrate's always, you know. So they like a lot of space if you have it to give to them. So
yeah, I would like, as like a pet person or whatever, 4x2x2.
Absolutely, they would use it. Yeah.
I think they make really cool display animals too, because they're generally active during the day.
Yeah.
And most of them like don't care. Like my Mexican black king snakes, even if they are not out when I walk up to the cage, if I just tap on the glass, they're like heads pop up and they're like, "What's up?
You have food for me? Food? What are we doing?"
Like my Hondo, I put her into a 3x2 cage. I never see her ever. Like I drop feed her, so she gets Reptilinks. Most of my colubrids are on Reptilinks, and I just like put them in front of the log. I walk away. I come back an hour later, and they're gone.
So you literally never see her.
I do not see her. I have to go hunting.
I was gonna say once a month you have to like do a welfare check.
Yeah. So once she's definitely gonna end up back in a tub. Like now that I'm getting like bigger tubs, like yeah, you don't get a cage because I don't see you, and this is the same like foot space. So,
right.
Yes.
Into the tub you go.
Yeah. We obviously like. I think that's the right way to do it. I know the ethical people might come in here and start screaming, but if they're not using the vertical space, someone else will use the vertical space. You might as well demote them back to a sort of substrate-based lifestyle.
Yeah.
Anyway.
And I mean, like you can still do cool things with tubs. Like I like the freedom breeder ones. Like they have like a decent height to them.
Are they 9 inches tall? Do you remember?
Like 9 inches. Like my cages are only 12 inches, which is really ends up being like 10 or 11
and a half. Yeah.
Once you have like substrate and stuff in it. So
there's room for activity. So much room.
So much room. Yeah.
So let's talk about NFI. Can we talk about that? I know you're not in it hard, but you're.
Sounds like a really.
I know the people who are in it.
Right, Noah and
Joe from JPC.
Mm-hmm. So since the DG thing came out, which you're not into ball pythons, but like DG was like proven polygenic, but it's so few genes that it kind of acts recessive most of the time.
Yeah.
What do you think about NFI being like that? Like it's controlled by 3 genes, but one of them happens to be call, which activates it or something, helps it.
Like, oh man, NFI just confuses the crap out of me because it's always been paired for the most part with call. Mm-hmm. So it's like trying to figure out like what it does without call being involved is like, I feel like you skip some steps in figuring out like what this is. I've seen them in person, and like the ones this is why it's really weird. The ones that are like the super form are like they look T positive.
That's why I think there's some other gene, and it's just like reacting off of like one copy of call. Like if it's a homo NFI and has one copy of call, it looks T positive. If it's 2 copies of call and homo NFI, it looks like call because call sort of wins.
Yeah,
but calls could be carriers or homos for NFI. But like a het NFI doesn't do anything. It looks like a normal.
Yeah, it's
All I heard was whoom, 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 whoom. NFI, whoom,
Yeah.
whoom, whoom, call NFI. Whoom,
They
whoom,
look
whoom.
cool in person, but I'm like, I just want the lava call thing.
That is
would
a
love
hot
it.
project. Do you have a potential to hit that this year?
So this year I had a litter that is it's a lava line call litter that
Is it on your Instagram? Can we see it?
there might be some on there.
Jessica, make it so.
Who
Please.
started the lava line? I know you got it from Noah, but
I don't know who technically started it. I feel like Noah and Joe have like made it what it is today. Like I don't know of anyone else who has lavas as nice as them. But
I guess for people who don't know, pastel as like a phenotype, polygenic phenotype, happens all the time, and then but people can work on it and make it better, and then they get to name it their own pastel type. And color isn't a requirement to be pastel, but most people want that in their pastel line, and so this is just another line of polygenically selected pastel. But it's a rarer line.
It's the best one, duh. And I don't know anything, so take that with a grain of salt. But I really like it. It's hot.
Yeah.
So are you happy with the ones that you produced so far?
I'm super happy. Like it was a small litter because the female is really small. She's only like 4.5 feet. She probably has a lot of Central American blood because she's 100% het blood. And so the litter is the non-visible albino. The non-visible albinos are 66% het albino, and everybody's 50% blood. So I'm holding back 2 or 3 from this litter because I want to have more like blood stuff. That's also
is it the Motley litter? Am I drunk?
No, I haven't posted a ton of them.
Okay.
But there are some. The one with the really hissy baby that's on my Instagram. That's
bring it up, Jess. Bring it up.
I'm here. I'm just like, all right, I'll show you, and you can point my way. This one?
Yeah, that's one of them.
So the red blood is recessive?
Blood is a recessive, yeah. So these are all 50% het for it. And this is, I don't know if you want to get into the whole Kraken thing, Jessica.
Yeah, let's do it.
So there's also the Kraken morph, which has like not a lot of information around it. Kind of debated if it's even a morph or if it's just line bred.
This is I could tell it's a Kraken because of the splits.
Yeah,
we had talked about this a little bit the last time, right?
Yeah.
Kraken.
We just I like complaining about it and being mean.
Yeah. So
but you were really into it, right?
So I really I want like the lava stuff, and Kraken just happens to be involved,
like intertwined
in that project. So like this girl, like you can see, she has like the reverse tail swipe, and she has disconnected saddles, which is pretty common with it. But I don't know if it's like a legitimate morph or not, and I don't.
She's absolutely
really
stunning.
Care. Like I love things that disrupt patterns, and I think it looks cool. Whether or not it's just a line bred thing that has happened because of how much it's been involved in the lava project, I don't know. But the male that I used for the litter that I had, he's a Kraken, and he has the disconnected saddles, the reverse tail swipe. I can't talk. Stripe. And about 50% of the babies also have a reverse tail stripe. Some of them have some funky saddle things going on, but hypo is also kind of confusing the litter because the female was a super hypo. He was also a hypo, so like at least 50% of the babies look like they're also super hypo, which also just fucks with all the saddle.
Oh god, I made a super hypo litter. I'm about to throw them all in the trash. To this,
they're not that bad.
They're not that bad, but I'm like, damn. Almost every hypo I hit was super, probable super, don't at me. But, it basically is super. And then there was very few visuals that weren't hypo. And I'm like, there's no holdbacks here. Holy fucking shit. It's just like, it
wasn't what you were trying to do.
I wanted to hit snow glows. And I hit a ghost a bunch of VPI sunglows, but most of them super hypo. But no anery ever hit in any hypo.
Oh,
It was like the worst odds of all time.
yeah.
Uh,
That's how I feel about the parahet litter that I had. I had arabesque, jungle. Yeah, I think that's all that was involved in, and they're all paraheads because the sire was a paradigm. And I really wanted to hold back a bunch of females from it, but like almost all of the arabesques and jungles are male. There's like two
Posed.
females, and like all of the normal paraheads are female. I'm like,
I don't want you. I want this one, but a girl.
yeah, I mean, it's like a big decision to grow up a female for 6 years. So she needs to
It needs to be perfect.
not just be a parahet, basically. She has to bring something else to the table so she can go to many males for many years to come, hypothetically.
What's parahet?
So I don't know if we talked about paradigm before on this podcast. If things been brought up.
We did last time, but it refreshed my memory.
It's this fun, like, allelic morph where boa woman caramel, which is like a T positive.
Oh, yeah.
albino,
Okay, we did talk about this.
And sharp albino sit on like the same, I don't know what you technically call it. I was thinking of like a ladder rung, like they sit next to each other.
Is it allele or?
Yes, they're like, it's an allelic morph. So if they're both het for sharp and boa woman caramel, you get a paradigm, which I really love. I also love boa woman caramel. So like my project is all BWC and paradigm stuff because I don't like sharp. I'm like Jessica. I'm like, nope, no sharp for me.
I think if you could get a clean line that's for sure just boa and caramel and get just pastel in it and like be sure it doesn't have call or sharp in it and sell it as like a clean true breeding line of nice looking boa and caramel, you could charge $1 bajillion for it because like
that's what I'm
there's a market for clean pastels, no hets for nothing, because people need to outcross and then like 50% chance het for fuck me.
Yeah.
And now I have to test it out 6 years from now, and then she needs a 2-year break, and then I'll know if I can put her into my whatever.
Yeah. Most of my projects like now like that I've kind of come back on are all like only a few more are involved. And I have like a Ferrari pastel project that has no hets in it. It's just...
Good. Keep it that way. At least part of it. Like a litter every other year that's pure pastel, no jankiness.
But to go back to the previous question about what a parahet is, if you breed a paradigm to a normal boa or something that does not have sharp or boa woman caramel in it, the paradigm is always going to give either it's sharp or it's...
Which just means you don't know which one it is.
Yeah. So we call them parahet litters because it's like you are definitely het.
It's like when we say like het krypton.
Yeah. Well, I want to call it crypto het because that would mimic the boa version of it and still explain that it could have been a krypton parent or whatever.
Because some people will call it a visual krypton, het krypton, and then it gets
right. We should just call it a crypto het. Could be het for either one, just like parahet. But people already figured out the right way to do it, so we should just copy and then move on with their lives.
I really hope we get more like genetic testing for boas soon. I feel.
Are you saving up sheds? Please save up sheds. You have a lot of visual calls and stuff.
Yeah, so that's what I'm doing now. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna like save up a bunch of these. I'm assuming my parahet sheds won't be useful because
they could be,
but
because so he needs pure boa woman caramel, pure paradigm, and maybe parahet, because he would be able to see the like each location because they'd be a different spike. Send them all. Don't tell Ben I said this. Send them all.
Send them all. Love HRP.
All I can provide right now is like visual sharp, but
look at Andrew, so smart. Look at this. He's like, that should not be a name of a morph at all. It's confusing.
Yeah, well, we fucked that part up. Let's be honest.
I mean, naming in general of morphs is so confusing. It's just like, why did we name it that?
Right. Why did Snow Glow revert to Arctic Glow, but only in one combo?
Yeah. Like, I have Arctic glow, and people look at me weird. I'm like, it's a ghost paradigm. Like,
Right, but
I'm like,
only
"Oh, why
that albino version of it,
Yeah,
not the
like, why
other
didn't you just
full
say that?
albino
I'm like,
versions of it. Those are all still snow glows, except for Call, which is moon glow. I guess there's another exception to the snow glow rule, but everything else is called snow glow. We're drunk. We're literally drunk at the wheel,
We are.
making things up. There's no map and no GPS, and we're just driving along like snow glow.
There is no council of elders.
elders.
Please
Women can be
find them.
elders, right? There's no
Yes.
council of elders that says we approve this message. There should be.
You know what
It
it
all
should
have
be?
to come through us, and we could be like,
Not a
"That's fucking
council of
lame."
elders, like a clan of witches that come out
A
of the
clan of
swamp.
witches. I didn't know how to make it gender inclusive. Like,
We
Love
can have
it.
male witches. We had a dungeon witch here a couple weeks ago, remember? Hell yeah. You're a wizard, Harry. And then we'll just crawl out of the swamp, right? And we'll be like, my judgment is that it's no longer called Arctic glow. All shall be called snow glow. And then I'll like,
but only if you do it in that voice.
Yes.
well,
Then
I
we
need
can
some
all
sort
like
of like,
howl at the moon and then call it good.
we'll have to be like naked around a fire for a while, and then
For
we'll
sure.
howl at the moon and then run away. It'll be fun.
Yeah, I'm into this. I'm down.
I'm
We can
so
go
there.
camping while we do it too.
Yeah.
Every
wanna get,
year, I
me and my
camp
boots
out.
burned off in the fire.
We can
but-
like dress in mud. It'll be great.
Yeah, put like feathers and shit in our hair and like carry around snakes and sniff them. Yeah, I'm in.
I don't know what I just signed up for, but
But you're there.
Oh, all right. What's everybody's favorite snake musk to sniff? Go.
What?
Nunzos.
What's your
Yeah.
favorite? They say Western Diamondback smells like cucumbers or whatever.
I
I
have
haven't smelled their buttholes yet, but I'm interested. You know,
Well, garters smell like the worst to me. Like that.
so that would
Doesn't
be
matter
your
how many
least
times
favorite.
you
We
wash
gotta
your
go for your
hands, you can
favorite.
still like smell it. I feel like for days. It's so gross. And aren't like hognoses supposed to musk on you? I don't know. I don't feel like they ever do. Is that fake news?
I don't know how to say this, but like I've had to express like impacted hognose glands because they
Ugh.
don't do it enough. But at that point, it was sort of like old, marinated.
It's stale musk.
Right. So I don't know like the fresh premium from the source. I guess I've smelled Eastern hognose musk. My favorite is Eastern rat snake. It smells like burnt rubber and it reminds me of good times. It's like so specific. And I was smelling the barred eyes assholes the other day.
This is what you do in your spare time. You're like, oh yeah, musk, baby.
You gotta get the waft. No, I was just like doing something, and they were just like did a little bit because they were a little bit mad, and it smelled much more like Eastern rat snake musk than corn snake musk, and that's how I knew the genetics were correct because their buttholes smell much more closely.
Wow.
That corn snake musk doesn't bother me.
It barely smells like anything.
Yeah, I mean, I'm like, really? Nice try. But I'm telling you, garters. Whew.
Yeah. I have like no sense of smell, so like none of it really smells like anything to me. I mean, in this case, it's good.
Right, you're in.
Yeah, the way like when the Hondos like piss all over me, I'm like, I don't smell this, but I'm sure it smells disgusting.
Yeah, I've heard that too, Andrew, about like the impacted glands being because of humidity.
Like too high or too low?
Maybe too low because they're supposed to be like in the dirt, running around in leaf litter, and so they will in like a dry substrate, like whatever
Shavings
aspen or
and
whatever
stuff, yeah.
shavings. That'll be too. So they need like a humid hide to let their stuff
juices
come out
flow.
normally. Yeah, I guess sort of like a bearded dragon in their femoral pores because a bearded dragon it seems like they should be really dry, but they really need to run into a humid, micro habitat under a rock or something. So that's probably like our inability to care for them correctly.
My brain is just like humid, scent jungle. This is like I don't know.
You're doing great, Jana.
I can handle it.
I thought with bearded dragons, it was more that like we keep them on like smooth surfaces, and it's more like they climb a lot and they're like rubbing their junk on things, and so like
we need to rub their junk more.
we need to rub their junk more or give them something to rub their junk.
Mm-hmm. That's what I say to my husband. You need to go get something to rub your junk.
Yeah.
Kidding. Sort of.
I am building out a new cage for my bearded dragon. Because we got him 5 years ago for the kid, because the kid wanted a reptile and snakes were scary. And I was like, I'm going to feed your reptile interest. And he immediately lost interest. He's like, this thing is too hyper and it has claws. So now Puff is mine. And I looked up how long bearded dragons live for. I don't know why. I thought it was like 5 to 6 years. And now I'm like, fuck, 10 to 12
Forever.
years.
Bearded
I got
dragons
you for 18 years.
bearded dragons are tough. I know people are like, they're a great pet, and I'm like, kind of.
Yeah, like
I would demote them to like medium difficulty, which I'm sure people get mad about that because there's
No,
just
they
there's
are.
a lot
They're
going
like
on.
so they're
Well,
like,
Dare Bear would get mad if we said that.
they're
so.
like a member of the family level of care, like another child. Like literally, they need that level of like pampering and attention. If you're just
Well,
gonna
like,
keep
they
it in
need
the
a lot
cage
of-
all day, you
yeah.
shouldn't have one.
Like, they need a lot of space. Like, people are still saying, like, yeah, like, you get, like, a 20-gallon and eventually give it a 40-gallon. It's like, nah.
Nah, dog, that's not gonna work. Well, or if you have, like, them in a 40-gallon, which you shouldn't, they should be out 90% of the time.
Yeah.
But they're crazy, so not a lot of people want them just, like, running around their house.
I have
I was gonna say, is your...
Oh, that's cute.
Yeah. Well, he sits with me during the summer.
I was gonna say, is that to rub his junk on?
Yeah. He's down there. Like, I actually really like I love bearded dragons. I think I'll always have one.
They're amazing. They're just not the easy first pet that people sell them as. They are incredible. And if you're willing to commit to having them involved in your whole life, they're really like a dog or a child. Like they're that needy and attention. Like
they have the stinkiest poops. Like when
really
Puff takes a shit, like I walk in and I'm like, fuck, man. Like, because it's his cage right now is right next to the kitchen, so it's like the first thing you smell when you walk in, and I'm like, oh man, I did not want to be
there goes breakfast for me.
Yeah, like I don't smell most things, but for some reason I can smell bearded dragon poop, and it is
there you go. That's your least favorite.
That's if that counts, that's what it is.
All right, good.
They also want like gourmet salads like once or twice a day, and I'm like, I don't even make myself a gourmet salad once a day.
I grow collard greens and kale in my garden for him, and my neighbor is like, "You're really healthy." Yeah, this is for my lizard.
It's for my pet, not for me.
I do like that though, because you could sort of think about them as being like a better sustainable pet because
you can grow their food.
Yeah, like technically, sorry everybody, if we didn't have like monoculture factory farms, we wouldn't have snakes because you need cheap grain to feed rodents.
Yeah.
So like, I don't know what we're doing in the post-apocalyptic wasteland besides becoming swamp witches, but we wouldn't be keeping a lot of snakes.
I'm so excited to be a swamp witch.
It's coming. All right, let's talk about this. Darian deleted it, so we will keep a record of it forever, which is the number of, I know you can't read this, so I'll read it to you.
$39,000 ball python thing.
Yeah, well, I don't really care about that. It's like the percent change that's interesting. Like bearded dragons are pretty flat year over year of percent ads at 9% increased. So like maybe they're doing better. Like they're a stable amount made versus sold. But retakes are up 79%, even though they deleted all the slither ads. Ball pythons are only up 44. Boa constrictors are up 19. Corn snakes are up 43, which is okay because it's June and they tend to sell out over the summer.
Yeah.
Does anybody have any thoughts on this?
So
And since he deleted his Facebook,
they're up 43% in sales, like 43%.
No, this is up in posts year over year. So there are more available for sale right now at this time versus last year. And a lot of them dropped in June, like a little bit in May, because like the inventory wasn't up, but we're still up year over year the year before. This is on the Discord if you want to have a copy of it, everybody, because Darian deleted his Facebook. So it's gone now. I asked for the hognose one and he never got back to me. Maybe I'll call Dare Bear.
He might be just having a little social media fast.
Yeah, he's busy. I just thought it was really interesting. Like, there are more bearded dragons available currently than corn snakes, but more boas than bearded dragons. Is a boa? Should there be that many boas available? Period. Is a boa easier to take care of than a bearded dragon? Yes, but do we need a bunch of boas? I don't know. This is what I wanted to talk about.
I mean, I'm still always blown away by how many ball pythons there are. I'm like, what?
There are a mega shit
To
ton.
be honest, I felt like the boa number was low, and I was like, oh, there really aren't that many boas.
There's 3,821 as of this thing. Let's look at the actual morph market.
I'm just so boa centric. I'm like, everybody has boas. They're the best species to work with.
God,
stand by
3,637 as of right this second.
Yeah. I mean,
To me, that seems a lot.
I would have thought it would have been like between 5 and 10, but
Really?
How many are there?
3,637 available boas.
Doesn't feel like a lot.
yeah, it feels like a very small number. I was just surprised because they are like a very popular species. Like, obviously not as popular as like ball pythons and stuff, but they're sort of like the next snake that people want to get who've had a ball python and like, I want something a little bit bigger. That isn't $1 million
And a little bit more intelligent.
Well, like the
know,
carpet numbers are still really low. Shorties are really low.
Yeah.
So like boas obviously are like the next thing that people try that's a little bit different. But when I go to a show down here with boas, even in a room with hundreds of vendors, I'll usually be the only other person selling boas that I bred myself. Very often.
Yeah.
Like, they're not at Arlington, but at like a local show. People will flip the shit out of boas all day. Of course they will. But
yeah, I either have
it doesn't feel very common to add a pair of boas to your ball python collection. Or if they do, they overfeed it, and those animals never breed anyway because they're overfed.
It's only like 100 or so pairings in retrospect. 100 pairings for what?
3,000 babies. Or maybe less. A lot of them, it's more like 15 to 20 babies. So maybe a couple hundred pairings.
Yeah, and it also depends on like what localities are mixed in. A lot of mine have a very heavy Central American influence, so like they're smaller in size, and so like my litters are normally between like 8 and 15. Even like my like big Arabesque female, she's over 7 feet. She's got to be like around 7.5 feet. She only had 18 babies. I was surprised. Like, she was huge. I thought for sure. I'm like, oh man, she's gonna hit 30 babies.
But they were bigger babies than your smaller.
Yeah, they were definitely bigger than like the previous litter. But I've only had one boa litter that was over 30.
That sounds nuts.
Mine are almost always between 15 and 20. Except for like the Central American stuff that is like, I'm gonna have 6.
Good luck getting what you wanted out of me.
26. So I don't even think I ever cracked 30.
I had 33 once, and she wasn't even that big of a boa. She was 6 feet and like not.
Yeah, sometimes they just want to pack them in there.
Yeah, I was like, what?
That was some good baby batter. I got to use it all.
Yeah. And like the locality boas almost never make it onto Morph Market. Like most of the people who are
they're sold like they're on waiting lists.
Boas, they have wait lists, or like they post on Instagram and everyone's like, I'll take one.
Yeah, there's definitely more animals produced for sure than are on Morph Market. But if we're looking as like Morph Market as like a proxy for like the larger percent, like I think that's correct that there are like relative percents of like animals hypothetically available each year. I guess the question is like, do you think there are too many boas in the world?
I think I think you talked about this in the previous podcast. I think people make some pairings that we don't necessarily need. Like, you do not need to be making more just hypo babies because there are going to be so many hypos available just from byproducts of other breedings. Unless you are doing some very specific line breeding and you're like, this is what I'm going for. Like, the amount of
Trying
people
to
I
improve
see-
this. Yes.
Yeah, I see so many things in like Facebook groups that are like, I just rescued this hypo boa and I put it in the cage with my unknown male. I think he's something, right? And everyone's like, that's a normal male. Like, what are you doing? It's like,
Quality in, quality out.
yeah, and I think that's really what it is. Like, there's a little bit too much haphazard breeding taking place with some people are doing with boas, where I'm like, they have a lot of babies. You need to be prepared to house them for a while. Like, it's not like ball pythons where like they can stay in a relatively small tub for a while. Like boas don't grow that fast, but they still grow. It's like you need to be prepared to have that thing for 2 years.
Yeah, and they don't necessarily like, because they have a lot, and because you're looking for the right buyer for that weird kind of pairing. I don't think I've ever sold out of a boa litter. That's not true. I've gotten close, but it usually takes about a year.
Yeah.
If you're not wholesaling any of the scrubs to finish selling out a boa litter. That's not like maybe, I don't know, super morphy or super desirable locality. Like a sort of mid-tier morph litter, about a year.
Yeah,
For me.
I did pretty good last year. I think I had 40 babies in total, and I still have 4 left. Which
Yeah,
for me
that's
was like
great.
a good year to only have
Yeah,
like
no,
4
that's
left
great.
over. And both are actually more to feed because they're eating at least hoppers, and then they move pretty quickly to adult mice. And rodent prices suck right now, so it's like I did not buy enough hoppers and adult mice in my last shipment. I am somehow already out of mice, and I'm like, oh god, I spent
Mhm.
$800 on rodents in the
I
last
was just
4
gonna say,
months.
woo! It's a pretty penny.
Yeah, and especially since like the females don't breed every year, blah blah blah. They're like selling a normal or a hypo or low end something for 120. You're probably not actually making money off of those animals,
Yeah,
even though you have 30 of them, because it took a lot of females not going to make $100 animal.
yeah.
Yeah. All right, let's talk about making morph boas smaller. We've talked about this a little bit and how maybe that should be the future because it's a little easier on every part of the process.
See, I want
frankly.
to find a locality that's smaller and run with it because I think that there's a niche that needs smaller boas.
It's I don't know. I've had like I sort of got out of a lot of like the locality smaller boa stuff because like nobody wanted them when I was at at the expo.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and like it was so annoying because I used to have a lot more like El Salvador boas and like blood boas, and when blood started to become popular, I would get a lot of breeders contact me because I'd have like some like older females for sale. And then we go, oh, like send me a picture, and like they'd look at my like 4-foot boa, and they'd be like, "Nah, I like them bigger." I'm like,
There's definitely like two kinds of clients where they're like, if it's not 8 feet, I don't want it.
yeah,
And then there's like a normal pet person who's like, I need to get a male only. And like, is this half Central American? Because I don't want it to be bigger than 6 feet max when it's 15 years old or whatever.
Mhm.
But like, how do we communicate to the corn snake client or the bearded dragon client or the ball python client that there is like option 2, and it's definitely 4 feet, and it's not that big of a deal. It can fit in a 4x2x2.
All right, I'm gonna start it right now. Come get an ASM dwarf boa.
Don't call it that. Don't
Yeah.
call it that.
I know, but that's what the retic world did.
it's true.
Well, what they
There-
should do is
I
just
was-
be like,
I
this
was
is
making fun
a
of it.
50% K cocker het.
Yeah, but the everyday layman is not going to know that. That's why they did that with the retic, even though
I
they
know, but
did it
they're
totally
dumb
wrong.
because
They're
half
totally
of their dwarf
dumb, and I was
localities
making
aren't
fun
even
of them.
dwarf,
Yeah.
I know, but I'm
and it's a
saying, like,
scam.
for pet people, if you label it dwarf, then they are like, oh, it's smaller,
Yeah,
I
there are-
know, but I want a different word for it.
micro boa.
there are
I'm doing it,
Oh,
Jessica,
man.
just because I like how red your face just got.
So other people are already doing it. Like she's doing it. She has El Salvadoran blood and Imperator mutts. But you have to convince them that that is a product that you would want as a like pet keeper. I mean, El
It's a
Salvadorans are kind of
dwarf.
Yeah. Well, like,
Look at his squirm. Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
this is fun.
like
uh,
there's also like the locality people only want pure locality stuff.
correct.
So they
for
see
sure,
my
yeah.
like, jungle blood and they're like, I don't want that, it's a mutt. I'm like, yeah, I know it's a mutt, but I can tell you the percentage breakdown of its locality, and it's a fucking jungle, so it looks cool, man. It's not
Yeah.
gonna get over 5 feet. So like,
Yeah, you definitely have to like convince someone. So like the mutt people know mutts are mutts, but I think there's room to be like, what kind of mutt do you have? What qualities does that confer to like the final animal in terms of selective breeding and like petness? So like we just have to get better at, maybe we do need a stupid dwarf word on it.
Yeah.
I just don't like it because it's easy for people to lie and make shit up. So if you
for
force
sure.
the issue
They
and be
just
like,
put dwarf in front of any boa they have.
right,
'cause
50% Tarahumara, 50% pure Sonoran leopard.
yeah.
So it's not locality anymore, but it's pure boa sigma, and you are communicating that. You're like, it's probably going to be in between sides, but you'll have the morph leopard, but it'll be smaller than the already kind of small Sonoran leopard, whatever, hypomorph you want. Wouldn't that be like a better product than...
I think it's cool, which is why I'm doing it with like one of my projects where like I know the lineage of everything in it because I bought them from either like Vin Rousseau or Chris Gilbert. So it's like I know exactly like what localities are like in their backgrounds. And I have adults that are small, so I'm like, yeah, I don't think my 8-year-old female, is going to get much bigger than her current 4 feet 8 inches.
Yeah. You want to handle Andrew's question?
Ooh, Hog Island is still a thing. It's the problem is probably like 80% of what you see labeled as Hog Island is not actually Hog Island. It got like interbred with other mainland boas, and like, yeah, it's light, it's got freckles, it's a Hog Island. But
which maybe is so. I don't know. I don't want to be like a person who makes excuses. Like maybe that's okay. Like the purists can have pure.
Yeah.
You can have like hobby level hogs. Wink. You can have sunsets, and you can have the things that are sunset crossed, even it back into something else that are like hog influence. Wink.
Yeah, I think
I don't know how to communicate all that.
A dash of hog.
I think it's mainly like if you want a locality, like you need to go with someone who has a reputation for breeding locality stuff, not the person who is on Morph Market and like has like a whole bunch of random stuff for sale and is like, yeah, here's this Hog Island.
That's probably not.
Parents of it, like, can you like prove anything about it? I don't know, but like I have some like really nice hypo leopards that are technically not pure Sigma because the
hypo.
And it did come from Panama, like they were like some of like the original hypos that was added in like 4 generations back. They're from like Vin Rousseau, so they're not pure Sigma technically, but they're, for all intents and purposes, like they're Sigma. Like, there was one female that got to get frisky with a Central American salmon hypo, and then 4 generations later, all the babies still look really cool.
Right.
So it's like,
it's okay to hate nuts, Lisa, but
Lisa's dying in the comments.
Yeah.
like the bifurcation of the two things, where like the mutt sort of trajectory has been going on all along, and the locality purists have been going on all along, and that's fine that both exist, but we didn't know there was 3 species in boa 20 years ago. So we've been doing interspecies hybrids this whole time. So
already
to me,
the main boas are hybrids, right?
Yeah, and then like they all interbreed where they meet in the wild. So is a Colombian boa the ones that we think that are nice looking with nice tails that are supposed to be impaired or ish? Those are all intergrades, hybrids between constrictor anyway.
Yeah.
So I don't know the right answer, but I know like the animals already exist and a lot of them look pretty hot. So when I was a wee lass long ago, years ago, I would be like, no hybrids, that's stupid. But I was working with hybrids the whole time anyway, because they were from Colombia. So what an idiot. Joke's on me. Lesson learned. My problem is like a lot of the localities came in as pairs or like 5 animals. So
yeah, which is what Chris's thing is.
Yeah.
So they're being because I have the I can never pronounce it, the Tamaulipas cloud forest boas. I don't know how you say it. It's too many letters.
That was a good effort.
Yeah.
I don't know how to say it either.
But like they're cool little boas, like they're dwarf boas. But I don't know how many pairs came in. Like Vin is the only one I know of working with them. So like I don't know, like are we gonna have like
gotta get some fresh DNA in there quick.
This is like one of the only times where I'm like, I've never had any like wild caught animals. I'm like, how do I get a wild caught? Put
them in your pants. I think
man. They couldn't be any more mean tempered than these damn captive bred ones are. They're like vicious little devils.
Yeah. I mean, we're already seeing like situations of inbreeding depression in Australian carpets and stuff. I'm pretty sure, although I'm not positive yet, I guess I won't talk about it, but I think I have a cancer in my boa colony currently. Which even more boas get cancer young because there's something about just being a snake that you are inclined to stomach cancer.
Yeah.
But if you happen to get like the cancer allele stuck in your line of whatever Brazilian Amarelli, we ain't getting any more Brazilian Amarelli unless Jeremy Stone wants to like help us out with that belly and try to help us out.
I'm gonna go down with one of those like pregnancy suits and I'm gonna fill it with snakes.
So we have to like,
except for they X-ray you now.
Try to keep them pure, but there may be points where like we will have hurt them by keeping them pure to the point that they're all problematically inbred. So I'm okay with making some hybrid vigor and keeping them small, keeping them pet friendly, trying to stay within the species. So like if you're going to do a dwarf cross, like use K Cocker or Hog Island or what's the other one? Crawl or the clouded forest boas or whatever.
Yeah.
To smush to another imperator morph that's even like next door. I don't give a shit. Costa Rican T positive. I don't care. Just because they're inbred. And if Vin watches this, he'll probably die. But I don't know what to do anymore about the amount of cancer. Okay? The best hope you have of keeping them pure is getting RGI to test them for heterozygosity and then breeding them that way. Like most heterozygous to most heterozygous. Just to hope you don't hit deleterious alleles. I don't have the money to pay for him to do that.
A lot of words there. They all come in
you might want to dumb that down for some people.
Well, if we were a zoo, which we're not, and we had animals we were actually interested in introducing to the wild, which we won't, because none of us are accredited or anything, we would send DNA samples and they would just look at different areas and see how much they have different alleles at each location. Because the more they're homozygous at every allele for everything that could make a snake, the more inbred they are. So if they have a high percent of homozygous at every allele, then that snake has been fucking Targaryen brother sister for this. The family tree is a ladder, bitch. And so like that's so inbred it can't.
Oh, uncle, husband, cool.
Same difference around here.
Brother,
in the locality
sister,
community.
It's fine. Yeah.
Is it Longicatas where we're also having problems with like inbredness? I feel like there's some other like species of boa that I got into because of you fuckers on that Discord channel. And now I'm trying to find a male that's not related to my female, and it's like, joke's on me, they're all
Yep.
Yeah, Longicatas are real. They had a couple of imports, but certain lines were only imported and were a pair. or
Yeah.
whatever. And then Tarahumars was a pair. And then even some of the Sonoran stuff, like 5 went to Europe and 5 went to the US, but they came from the same shipment. So were they all litter mates to begin with? It's a problem, and I don't know how to solve it, except for with genetic testing, just to preserve whatever alleles that are still left. Because, like, you know, a litter, a rat could overheat and kill all the examples of a whole genotype. So it's like continuous bottlenecking because we don't know what we're doing, and we just keep fucking around. I do think like there's a lot of good in the locality market because the prices are like they went up during COVID, but they were stable before that. Like a boa constrictor, whatever Suriname, even though they're imported all the time, like the CBB price has been the same for like, I don't know, 30 years or some shit. They're always pretty expensive, even like the basic ones that come out. So like their base price is stable because they're harder to breed and whatever. So that part is very attractive to me. Like, you know, conforming to the market's demands that will command a price that makes them, you know, easier to make the rodent bill make sense, you know?
I would love it if my rodent bill made sense. I really wish my Argentine boa hadn't slugged out.
Did you really? All the way? What a bitch.
Well,
Sorry.
there was one stillborn baby that got grinded up between all the slugs. I think my male might not be fertile or might have issues because I've tried pairing them for 4 years now.
That's a lot of
this
years.
is the first time she's ever even done something. So now I'm looking at my male. I'm like, are you an asshole who is also infertile? Like, are you the problem here? Again, so
yeah, maybe I would try.
I'm gonna pair
try
up
a different male.
Yeah, my other males were too young. They're 2020s, and I tried one this spring with her because I'm like, you're 3, you should be fine. But he's still only like 3.5, 4 feet, and she's like 6.5 feet and like big. And he was like, "Oh my god, she's gonna eat me!" And he just like,
I'm scared. Get me out.
Ran away, and I was like, fine. So next year, I'm gonna be like, all right, dude, you gotta suck it up and just like grow a pair and get in there.
Rip it off like a band-aid, dude.
Yeah.
Have you thought about like Bretteleye style cooling them? Like,
I did
like,
that.
fuck you guys, 50 degrees.
I did that this year.
And they still did. Their little spermies didn't work. Man, what
Can
a
we
bummer.
like sperm check a snake?
Yeah.
Under a microscope, like would their summers be big enough to see under a microscope?
Mm-hmm. The problem is like they don't freeze good. They're not like mammal sperm where you can just.
I don't mean like
blast it out.
I'm gonna jerk off my snake and send it to you like
You're
dog
not
breeding, but I mean like just if you were having trouble with a pairing, could you check to see if there was?
Yeah, you could have a microscope in your room and like take a little smear off their dong and just see if you got. Usually, like they produce viable stuff, but it's more like the percent of like you know, special sperm and
the
2 tails. Yeah, you're gonna want like a normal sperm check at like a farm or whatever. They'll just take the percent of viable versus whatever. And so even if you're like still got millions of sperm, if there's too many duds floating around there, they ruin the party for everybody else. They block the path. Yeah, testicles. The good old days. Yeah, bows are very strange market to be in. I still love them. They're still cool, but they're like less predictable, and they're more like a, I don't know, like a bond. You like, it's like a safe investment. It's not going anywhere, whatever. It'll breed one of these years, and then like that's when you maybe like get your rat money back. But it's not like a reliable churn of.
Yeah. Especially like the next couple of years, like I'm mostly breeding stuff that like I want to hold back for future projects. And we really need to buy a house in 2 to 3 years because that's when everything I have in a holdback tub is gonna need to be upgraded. And I'm like,
Like, I've run out of
way.
square footage. I need a new house.
There is technically a weight bench that we never use in the basement. So like worst case scenario,
Throw in the trash. We don't need it.
it's like the Cold War between me and my partner. He's like, you can't take over all of the basement. And I'm like, first of all, Snaketown is only in half of the basement, and only 50% of that half. Your weight bench is the other 50%. Yeah, but it's my weight bench and I like it. So I don't know. We'll see.
Chuck that thing in the garage.
Yeah.
See if he even
I would
noticed.
love a basement right
I need
now.
a basement so bad. Oh my gosh.
It's like 100 degrees today here. So I'm like cooling. I'm like, please God get colder. So I don't have to like start to pull all the heat panels out for like the boas because that produces a lot of ambient heat.
Yeah.
Because it's just like the AC can't fight that plus whatever. So I end up just running ambient all summer, which the boas are fine with. They don't give two shits. Like if they're not gravid, they could be 80. They're like great. 82, 80. So a basement would be awesome because then you could get cold and like stay cold if you want in the parts that you want it to be cold in.
Yeah. Our basement also has like the furnace in it, like the water heater thing. So it normally stays like ambient temperature, usually 80 degrees all winter. Like unless it is like an exceptionally cold winter where it's like below zero for a few weeks, like it's always like 80 down there. I'm like, sweet. But
Right, especially in Boston.
But I basically like brewmated my Mexican black king snakes next to the door just because there's no insulation. And so it'll be like 5 feet away, 80 degrees. Next to the door, 45 degrees. It's like, cool. You guys are just in these little tubs that I just covered with a towel all winter. That's my very high-tech way of brewmating them. And then I just like unplugged the heater for the Argentines because their cage is next to the wall, like one of the outer walls.
Mm-hmm.
And it just sucks all the heat out of the cage.
Push it right towards the door.
Let that cement just suck all that heat out.
Yep. So
Yeah,
basements are awesome.
My like Sigma female, she's a 2013. I've like tortured her in every way I know, like 50 degrees.
She will not give up the goods.
The one time I tricked her into developing follicles, but she didn't like him. So she would let him touch her a little bit, but then she would do the shrug thing. She's like, fuck off.
Get off.
So she actually had 2 babies. So he must have put it in at some point, but he was not interested in him. But there was too many slugs, so they were pre-babies, so they died. And then this year I put him in for like 20 minutes, and she actually looked at him and body checked him. She didn't even let him mount her first. So I'm like, this bitch will be a spinster forever the way we're going.
Well,
so now she's 10.
That's not her flavor, you know?
Maybe I have to get her that like Sigma D because that's what she's actually into is her like native.
She's like, ugh, he's contaminating my DNA.
Oh, she's very pro locality. She's like, bitch.
Yeah, she's like, you can't mix.
Your locality.
She's an elitist.
They're funny. Their bodies are extremely strange, Sigma bodies, because they're, like a lot of boas are like laterally compressed, and like the more southern you get, like the more like an Amazon basin is like straight up and down. But Sigmas are like round, floppy. They probably jam themselves in crevices and rocks too, because they have like a very different
round
shape.
And floppy.
I've noticed about mine.
That's how we like it, Jess.
Yeah.
My 2 non-pure Sigmas that are still basically Sigma are like little roly-polies. I'm like, is this normal? I'm like poking at them.
They're very round, and I don't know. Like it's a weird body plan for a boa because there's very little lateral compression. For her, is it a year I'm actually trying, or the year I'm not trying? And
when you actually got slugs and babies, what was her feeding schedule?
I didn't feed her at all in the winter, and then fed her fast in the spring. She was basically on like winter detention, no eating, cold. She could warm up each morning. I would like plug it back in, and then she had her own room. Even stupid.
So what you've got is a diva freeloader on your hands.
Yeah, that's all right. She's 10. She could retire here. I don't almost like there's some boas that they just I don't care.
What type of boa was in the original Jurassic? There was a boa in Jurassic Park?
Yeah,
know, that's what I
when
was
the
thinking.
when the raptor is watching the other raptor eat
Oh
what's
yeah,
his
that's
name?
right.
A
That's
boa
right.
crosses in front of the puppet. It's they're in Costa Rica, so I would assume it's a Costa Rican birder. That's what it looks like. But you're only
Yeah.
seeing like the front half of the
I
boa.
have to go watch Jurassic Park because I didn't even know there was a snake in it.
I didn't remember it, but I'm like, oh wait, now I remember that.
Nope. I've seen it so many times, and I'm like,
At least
I don't
it
know
was
what
a
you're talking
native
about.
species to that region. Like, what a blessing. Like, half the time it's like a corn snake falling out of...
Or a king snake, or
Yeah.
like
this Mexican black king is a cobra.
it's
or
so
whatever.
funny to go back and watch those movies because I used to be scared of snakes in movies, and to go back and watch those like snakes on a plane, and I'm just laughing my ass off because
Yeah.
they're literally king snakes and ball pythons and maybe a boa, and it's like none of those are scary.
Right,
snakes.
Indiana Jones is the best. Because it's
Oh,
like
no,
a
I haven't
pile
seen
of
that one
rubber
yet.
snakes with like garter snakes sprinkled in
Yeah.
and like a random berm.
Somebody posted in like one of like the boa groups, it was like a clip from a crappy horror movie off of like Shudder, and it was like somebody climbing up like a sheer like rock face. And it was supposed to be this scary scene because a snake crawled over her hand, and it was basically a baby boa. And it was like, one, it's adorable because this is like
Right.
a like 15-inch baby.
I know, they're
And
so
two,
sweet.
it's like no boa is gonna climb up this like I was worried about the boa falling. I was like, I know this
Yeah.
isn't real or anything, but
There's like somebody off screen that like set it there and is
Yeah.
like making sure it doesn't fall.
I'm like, boas don't climb that way. Like, there's nothing there.
It flew.
for
It has wings, actually.
Yeah, I was like, I don't even know what y'all were going for. I mean, I guess it wasn't a ball python. Like, maybe I don't
Yeah,
know. If
those
that was
are
better or worse.
even less scary. You're like, holy, wow, it's gonna maybe fart at you aggressively.
Yeah. Every time there's like a news article that's like something about snakes, and it's always a ball python in the picture. It'll be like 12-foot python found in
Nearly
Shelly's
eaten.
backyard. It's like, ball python.
All right. Let's like maybe finish up ish. What do you think? What is your like prognostication for boa breeders this year? Do you think they should be, breeding heavy, mostly holding back because of the market, buying into stuff because it takes a long time to grow up and the prices might be coming down this year? What do you think about all that? Prognosticate. Be the witch that reads the tea leaves. Go.
I think probably like not breeding heavy. I'm definitely not, but the main thing that like I always advise people who are getting into the hobby or like feeling unsure about it is you should only be doing projects that you enjoy doing. Like
Mhm.
I don't understand like getting into like the snake business purely to make money. Cause I'm like, there are other things you can do, that don't require caring for live animals and like cleaning up snake poop and getting musked on and having your friends ask you what your favorite musk smell is. There are other things you can do.
That's right. You're right.
But like for boas, like, females like in general shouldn't be bred before 5, like maybe 4.5, depending on like the particular individual. But that means that like if you're getting a baby, like there's no rushing it. So you should think about what projects you enjoy and take a look at the market right now, because there might be some people who have some like good prices. But yeah, it's mostly what it is I think it's going to be tough selling stuff this year. I'm not particularly worried about it because I always assume I'm going to have some stuff left over, and I always make sure that like I can house everything that pops out of my boas for a while, so I'm not like stressing about it. I am definitely eyeing the baby bunnies that are hopping around my damn yard and being like, "You're really expensive."
That's good news, right?
Yeah. I'm
Let's
like,
catch
"Aw."
a few of you, and then I'll
Yeah.
feed the babies because those are probably fine.
there were a bunch that were like they're terrible in Belmont. They're everywhere. And the rabbit, like I left the gate down on my garden over the winter, and so like fucking rabbit went in there and had her litter of bunnies, and I'm like checking them every day. I'm like, "Oh, you're really cute. You're also like $6."
I mean, you basically hand raised them
I
on
know.
organic produce.
Yeah, that is all organic soil that their
That's
nest was
right.
built
Yeah,
in.
I would do it.
Yeah, I'm like, how loaded with parasites are you? Can I like deworm you? Like,
Probably.
I
You just got to get
Yeah.
the warbles out. I have never not liked something more than warbles.
yeah, I didn't do it. Like they got to go free and live their little bunny lives and eat
All right.
all of my basil.
Whatever, I'd be trapping that shit and throwing it in a rabbit hutch.
Yeah. I am thinking about breeding quail once we have space somewhere because I like feeding quail to my boas, but that is also
I
very
love
expensive.
feeding quail. I think my animals do really good on them. Like I don't know, I can tell a difference.
They're very dusty, so you need to breed them in a. If you like could kind of swing rats, you can't swing birds because they produce dander like wild. So you got to have a little shed, which is what I'm waiting for. Is like to make let me air quote this one, profit at a show at some point, and then like build a little shed specifically for quail.
We should do a future podcast on other breeding things. We can go over reptilinks. We can talk about quail, other things that you can feed. I know you guys did a bird one before, but I want to talk about ground up sausage meat.
Oh, why don't you just talk about that now?
Okay, I hear that.
We're going to talk about like the sizing of quail, I think. I just remembered. I'm old. Sorry.
Man, I don't have it like up in front of me, but like the main thing, like if you're feeding quail, is you have to like size down quite a bit.
Because and their heads are floppy, so sometimes they get confused by the head. So you can actually chop the head off if they're one of those animals that are like, I'm gonna go butt first and decide later, but like they can't figure out the butt side.
Yeah, and like the problem, like it's not as like I feed chicks too, and like chicks, it's not as big of a deal with, but like I feed bigger quail, like 6 to 8 week old quail to my like larger boas, and their heads are like less floppy then, like it's less of an issue. The problem is like rats condense because they're rats and they're like, I need to squeeze through that little hole so like their body shrinks. Quail don't do that, and so like the size of what they look like is the size that they're going to be inside that.
And the design of a sternum makes them much bigger relative to their weight than even some other kind of animal. Just having a big sternum, and none of that collapses because that's where all their flight muscles attach. So you got to be like looking at the sternum.
Yeah, I feed like brand new quail to my king snakes, and the first couple of times I had to just watch because I was like, they're not like a ball python that just like stretches all out. I was like, are you really going to be able to get that down? And they managed it. It just took them longer than it would for a mouse of the same size.
I think the 6 to 8 week old quail that I got, I was only able to feed that to my boas that would eat like jumbo large rats. Like I don't feed jumbo large rats, but like that size of boa, like ones that could also eat like smaller size rabbits. And then I got like the next step down that was like, I think they do like 6 to 8 weeks and like 4 to 6. I got the next size down thinking I could give that to my ones that were on medium rats. And I was like, no, like only the ones that were like on the verge of like medium to large rats could eat that size.
So you definitely have to get smaller than you think you have to get.
Yeah, like
don't look at the ounce size at all.
Yeah, do not.
And boas are pretty stretchy, but like there's a continuum of stretchiness in snakes. Like a carpet is very stretchy, a boa is like medium stretchy. Corns are actually pretty stretchy, but like king snakes no stretchy, and like
no stretchy there.
They're like, my mouth is full, wobbler,
and they're so dumb that they're like. Yeah, they're like trying to swallow anything.
I pulled something out of there. She's like half suffocating because she was like committed, but stupid.
And another thing too, like the wings will like mess them up,
right?
Especially in the bigger ones, and if they eat them butt first, like I have so many stupid boas. They're like,
because then they get stuck on the legs, and the legs are hanging out, and they're like, this seems confusing.
It's not going how I thought it would go.
And they'll power through it, but this is also like. They might break their jaw or something. Like
they with king snakes, you have to just like absolutely make sure that they get the head first.
So there were definitely some I was watching them eat. I'm like, I'm feeding you a smaller size next time because you are an idiot and you're on timeout.
I miss my like chickie flock because they used to just make chickens all the time. And I'd be like, oh, these are good size, and then just I used to make most of my boa food out of my own property, and that was dope. Now I don't. And it's expensive on the larger sizes because they take up a lot of space in the shipping box.
Yeah.
So we should do a quail-a-palooza. Maybe find a quail breeder. Maybe they can give us a discount code for a holdback rack.
That would be bitching.
Yeah, for shipping. Some of them do ship that aren't the big brands, just a quail guy.
Yeah, that would be awesome. Right now, I have to buy from
all you listeners out there, if you know the quail guy or girl, you let us know.
I also feed Reptilinks, which I mostly feed for my colubrids. If you haven't seen Reptilinks before, they're sausages, and they're made out of iguana meat or quail meat, frog meat. So all my colubrids get them, and they love them. The boas were not into it, which I was really surprised because my boas are normally I will eat anything. And most of them
get out of here with that shit.
Yeah, I would scent them with rats or mice, and the boas would go for it, and they would drop it and just look at me and be
you.
I feel betrayed by what you just did.
You were supposed to feed me.
Yeah, and the other problem is boas have a pretty good punch to their bite, and the sausage meat would explode everywhere, and so then you get to be cool. Now
and they are a little bit expensive per gram.
It is free shipping though. If you do over $100, it's free shipping. And with the current price,
so I bought them to try to convince baby Climax to eat, and every flavor didn't work, which is fine because various corn snakes did want whatever the quail one or whatever, but not even every corn snake would.
Yeah,
I just want, I don't know, somebody to breed captive bred parasite free frogs, captive bred parasite free monkeys, captive bred whatever, just anything they ate in the wild of any kind of snake or whatever. Obviously monkeys would be expensive, but
it would be really cool if it was affordable as well to have variety feed rather than just getting everything on rats.
Right, iguanas. I know we have the links, but they should be eating iguanas technically sometimes.
Boas eat a lot of iguanas, especially in Central America. That's
right.
What they mostly eat is iguana.
Yeah, it's good eating. I don't want to give my boas parasites or whatever, but we obviously don't need as many iguanas as we have. So the link is good, but can I buy a baby iguana that's pre-killed, frozen thawed, captive bred snack? Probably not, but that's why a lot of our snakes are fat and they have those weird fatty stools because we feed them these stupid fatty rats. But the quail is a good substitute for a lizard, in my opinion, because it has a similar body fat percentage.
It's just expensive.
Yeah. Is your dog gonna make it? Okay.
She's just lonely and she just wants to come in here by me.
Do we want to talk about the scary drama now? Now that we're at the end, and if people wanted to skip it, they could.
Let's do it.
Trigger warning.
So trigger warning. I don't know, Jana. Do you want to? You start talking about. I gotta go to the banyo because I'm old.
Oh, you're gonna abandon me? You have all the super facts. Okay,
just start explaining. I bet.
I bought some rats last week, some live rats from a friend, and as you do, you meet up in a parking lot and you shoot the shit for way too long. And she was telling me about a local vendor who does all the same shows that I vend and have been vending for years. It just came out publicly that he is a registered sex offender. And so then there was all this obvious concern and anger from other people because a lot of us bring our kids to the expos, and a lot of the kids at the expos, we're setting up and stuff, they all pal around in a herd, and you just have this expectation of safety, I guess, which maybe we shouldn't have. And here's this registered multiple count sex offender that the show promoter knew was registered, and was still allowing to vend.
Ugh.
And it's like, when the public found out, they went to the show promoter and they were like, so he's been banned now, right? And he basically stated publicly, there's screenshots of this in case anybody feels like I'm making it up, that he said basically like, there's nothing I can do. It's okay if he vends. And we're like, huh? And so like there was like a bunch of like private messages where people were like, fuck you, do better. Because not only is he a registered sex offender, but he's a registered sex offender that is a predator towards children.
Oh.
And so it's very concerning. And he was recently arrested again with charges against his own daughter. And there's all the court documents and all the like proof that this has been sent and he's been released, and people are like, well, is he going to be allowed to be at the show? And like I said, publicly, like on a public forum, he was like, well, there's not really anything I can do, you know, like. So
Sure
Jessica, I sent it all to her because I had mentioned it last episode, and she was like, what the actual fuck? Private message me and tell me what the hell you're talking about. And so I sent it all to her, and then she posted it locally, and I haven't been watching it, but I heard it blew up because I got like 5 messages about it. So Jessica, you share from there.
Last time I checked, Predators needed to be canceled. Like I checked the Circle of Witches. That was a thing.
At an advertised family-friendly event.
That means he was vending near my child.
Yeah, my daughter goes to every show with me.
Yeah, I'm just like, what the fuck? Okay, and I mean, I don't want to describe the supporting documents, but all of them are disgusting, and I did read them. But
I didn't.
People should not read them.
Don't read them. They would give me nightmares because my kid was literally around this person.
Yeah, and it makes me want to die inside. And then apparently people were mad at my post because they're like, it should be taken down because the wife, which is I guess the stepmother of the victim, is still trying to run the business to help the victim. And I'm like, the wife wrote a letter to the judge to get him have bail set. Bail. Well, supposedly the bail wasn't paid, and he didn't get out yet. I've heard that.
Oh, okay. Because I heard that
his bail was set at $2 million, but I don't think they could get a bond for it. The wife needs to go to counseling right away, tonight, tomorrow, yesterday, right away, because like she's like, I really need my husband out. He's a family man. He loves his children.
Oh.
You can just tell that she's just been groomed.
Yeah, all the way.
All the way in it.
I'm not saying she's responsible. I'm saying she's a victim too. She needs to go right to counseling right away. All the kids and like the other step kid wrote.
Well, the show promoter needs to go to my best counseling. Friend.
Yes, everybody in the whole state of Washington.
Seriously, he was like,
right to counseling.
Well, Washington didn't take away his parental rights. He still has custody of those children. So I don't feel like I need to exclude him from the show.
Hello.
Hey,
exclude away, please.
Fuck you, Washington, because that's not okay. And B, do better. And so this is a show that I no longer support, and this has come out since, and it's just like confirmed for me that this person has no ethics. He brings his own son and daughter to those shows, and they run around with like free reign because they've been doing it since they were knee-high to grasshoppers, and they're running around the whole place. Why would you be okay with that as a parent, let alone a show promoter promoting that other families come to this event? Like, there is a reason that these people have to register, because they have a sickness and they can't control themselves, which they have shown with past behavior. And so when you have a sickness or you have an addiction like a drug, you don't sit around and sniff the drug and be like, maybe I won't use today. Like, you don't have control over the fact that they're most likely going to do it again. And so like, they should just not be in that realm, and they should not be allowed to be in that realm. And there should have been better policing, especially because he knew. Like he knew, and he was just like, yeah, that's fine.
In 2021, so 2 years ago, he was told about the prior convictions and then the new charges about the interactions
with his own child. Right. So he had priors up until this point, but what he's in jail for right now is his own child. And
right,
so
new
before this
thing
point,
he did that
he
was
shouldn't
bad,
have been
that he could have
allowed.
started
And
at
now
a
he
reptile
really shouldn't be allowed anywhere near anyone's children, including his own. So it's just like a really sad situation for his family. Yes, I understand if she's still trying to run the business, but if she's still supporting that because she needs therapy and needs help as the victim as well, then I'm sorry, that's a business I'm not going to support if it's still supporting him. And that poor child needs to be taken out of that situation because no one is looking after her benefit or her welfare, because they've all been groomed so badly that they can't make healthy choices for themselves. And so it's just a really sad situation, and it was really upsetting. And did you end up getting it taken down, or did it stay up?
I don't know. Let's find out. Honestly, I talked to the moderator of the group, and he's like, people have been asking me to take it down. And I'm like, he's like, I don't want to take it down because this is fucked up.
Well, it's important. Like I said, all of us vendors bring our kids, and we just have this like understanding that our kids are going to pal around together, and it's not going to be a big deal. Like, not necessarily like running around during the actual show, but like during setup and takedown, my kids are running free.
Reptile group, the same thing I posted to Pacific Northwest Reptiles did not get admin approval, which is fine. Whatever. So if anybody wants to read, go join this group. It has some links, and the actual charges are.
So guys, this isn't hearsay. There are actual document files included in what we're talking about. And then there's also like on a public forum, the show promoter stating, well, he still has custody, so I'm sure it's fine. It's like,
how do we clean up stuff like this correctly? That's something I struggle with. Like,
how is this person still running shows after everything? It's like, this for me, it tells me everything I need to know about this person, especially that he has a daughter. Like, I just know that like this is a person I can't trust. This is a person who does not have anyone else's interest in mind and isn't even protecting his own daughter. Like, what the actual fuck is this show promoter doing?
The business name is Rainforest Poison Dart Frogs and Exotics. And the main reason to bring it up like nationally is because apparently they wholesale to a lot of pet stores that aren't just in Washington. So, oh my gosh, what is this? This has to be cooked in the microwave.
Go get ice cream. She can't say no.
I'll cook it for you, but you got to get something ice cream based.
I'll get some ice cream.
It's getting hot in the house because it's 100 outside, so the AC's like, struggling. I gotta work so hard right now. I have to go check the snake building. I didn't get the alarm yet that it's like overheating. It's my sensor push. Anyway, this story was insane.
I mean, it's like it gets more crazy the deeper you get into it, and it's kind of a trigger for me. And I have 3 daughters, and it literally was like, oh, there's my neighbor at the fucking show for the last 3 years. So I have a hard time like deep diving and reading the article. So I didn't. I just got the like Reader's Digest from a friend, and then she sent me the actual because Jessica likes the paperwork. And so I couldn't read it. But I'm like, fucking do better. There's 0 reason this should have happened. And there's 0 reason that it should have taken this long for that information to come out. Segue. What's in the tank behind you?
Yeah, let's do like one happy thing, and then we'll finish this puppy off.
Crested geckos. I wanted something fun in my office that I would see. Joke's on me. I never see them. I got them from a friend who works at a local reptile shop. They were like 2 adult females that were retired breeders, and I was like, perfect, adults. And then, like, I don't know, like 2 months after I got them, there were like eggs in there. And then, no, I didn't even see the eggs. I came in one day and there was just like a baby fucking crested gecko on a leaf, and I was like, you're a baby.
You are not one of the ones I bought.
Yeah. So I ended up with 3 babies. I gave one away. I have another 2 that are like in a tank next to me, but I always joke around that these are their lesbian moms. So those are my.
So wait, is one a boy or did one just come pregnant?
It must have come pregnant. They're both
okay.
female.
Okay.
But one of them was in with the male. My friend was like, I don't think she's pregnant.
It's fine. She's most likely not pregnant. You know, it's kind of like me buying a dog on Craigslist.
Yeah, exactly.
She's fine. She's definitely doesn't have 10 to 12 puppies in her. No big deal. Here you go.
Yeah. So
Crazy.
You really should put garters in that tank.
So as soon as all of my geckos die, which is going to be a few years from now, like
In 20 years.
I am like out of geckos. I don't like having crickets around. Well, like these guys eat smoothies, but I have a tokay gecko and a leopard gecko. I don't want them. I do want garters. I'm like, what else can I put in these cages that aren't
Garters are amazing and they're so interactive and they like have really cool personalities.
Oh yeah.
And they're not the same personalities. So like one will like to like sneak and like peek at you, or another one will be like, bitch, I'm basking, and like you come by and they'll like pop their head up at you and like follow you. I mean, they're so cool.
Yeah,
I
I definitely want garters someday.
The garter prices have come down a lot too, so you can pick up something cool, much more reasonably priced now.
Yeah, I'm about ready. I'm about there. We'll see.
No.
All right, thank you for coming on. You can find. Do you have any bows for sale right now, or are you still working on getting them ready?
I still have some for sale from last year, and I'll be posting my 2 litters this weekend to Morph Market, assuming Morph Market is still around. I don't know what's gonna happen between today and this weekend, but yeah. I'll have
anything could happen.
Babies for sale.
All right, thank you for coming on. Stay in the green room when we hit the button and wave awkwardly.
Is it Outworld Reptiles on Instagram?
Yep.
Yeah.
Is there links to Morph Market on your Instagram?
Yeah. Yeah, I have links on there.
And in the show notes of this YouTube.
Yeah. Go buy all the boas.
Yeah, we're just having fun. We'll do like a quail one whenever. We have no rules here and barely any plans. So like
yeah, I mean, if you're in the audience and you want to come on, just come on in, everybody.
Yeah,
it's summertime. It's chill.
As of right now, I think we have a guest next week too. That's 4 guests in a row, which is like kind of
weird for us.
Yeah, y'all are popular.
And we have a list of people who are like,
we have a long list, and then like randos are just like, sure, yeah, come on today. But
it's just like we're at a weird time slot.
Yeah.
So like if we want to make a specific person happen, we'd have to move the time slot for them. But if someone's like, I'm already ready and I'm ready on that day and we don't have to argue about it and we have a topic, I'm like, great.
Yeah, like Maddox is like, you need a full episode and I'm ready.
Yeah, I'm like, I'm here. I can do this.
Yeah, I mean, a lot.
All right.
Jessica geeks out about it because I don't know what you guys are saying. 95% of what you're saying, I'm like, yeah, totally.
That's how I feel when you guys are talking about ball pythons. I'm like,
well, that makes me feel a little better.
Yeah, well, I still want to be like the reptile radio of podcasts where we do a little bit of everything and people don't have to tune into every episode, but the ones they like, and maybe we'll all learn a little bit along the way. That's what I
love that Candoya episode that you guys did.
Yeah,
that was so good. I learned so freaking
It was
much.
So much fun. I was like, I love it.
She was super nervous to come on, and she did incredible. Like, I'm like, girl, I can
she's
just sit
part
back.
of the witch crew now. I can tell.
She's totally part of the witch crew. I could literally just sit back and just listen to her talk all day about all the stuff she does and works with, and I feel like she has the same mindset about how she works with species. It's just, she was cool. Oh, everybody's happy that you came on for boas.
Yeah, we needed to do like a video version anyway. So we've done it. Yes. Victory.
Oh, I forgot. See, because it's always video for us guys, so I always forget that it wasn't video.
Yeah.
Right. You can go check out her I'm like talking with a smoothie on my oat.
Yeah, you sure are. Party foul. You could go check out our other episode.
Yeah, we
under
talk
the
about the
video
arena
tab.
virus journey and testing
fun.
and some other stuff, which is
And all the
depressing
projects
but
we
very
did.
relevant for
Yes.
boas. All right. Thanks everybody for being here. You're all winners and you're all honorary members of the Witch Clan.
Yes, and
But-
happy Pride Month. Very much so.
Yeah, bye.
Bye. Awkward, lazy.